Welcome to the Daily Commercial Forum. I am your host, Sandy Moore. Spring is here, and it's time for the 17th Annual Leesburg Bikefest, the world's largest 3-day motorcycle rally and music event. Thousands will come to Leesburg to attend the custom bike shows, demonstrations, and stunt shows, along with the more than 85 concerts on 8 different stages. Our guests today are Joe Shipes, Executive Director of the Leesburg Partnership, Captain Rob Hicks with the Leesburg Police Department, Jay Hurley, Leesburg City Commissioner and owner of Truman's Fine Men's Clothing, and John Brandeburg with Brandeburg Development and the Leesburg Lightning. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, Sandy.
Well, let's just start out. Joe, will you tell us a little bit about the Leesburg Bike Fest, 17th annual this year? Tell us a little bit about what people can expect if they were to come.
Well, this year we're continuing to grow the event. We're going to start off Friday with a new event. It's going to be a Volkswagen cruise-in, so to speak. We're having a local group that's going to be displaying Volkswagens, custom and antique, the older Volkswagens. So that's something new we're planning for this year. We're continuing to upgrade our entertainment with over 70 bands this year, or 70 concerts throughout all the venues in the downtown and the Harley-Davidson dealership. The plans are also for Sunday. We're going to feature a headliner on Sunday, which is something new to try to build our crowd on Sunday. So those are a few of the new things we're planning. And
who are the headliners for Friday and Saturday night?
Well, Friday night is Steve Percy, who is the lead singer of the band Rat, which is an 80s hair band. Saturday night is Candlebox, which is also an 80s band, 80s, early 90s. And then on Sunday is
the Outlaws, I think.
Yes,
did I hear that?
Right, the Outlaws, right.
Well, that's very fitting.
Yeah. The Outlaws are a great band and are more of the Southern rock genre.
So really, you don't have to be a biker to come to
Absolutely
Bike Fest.
not. And that's we promote both the bikers and to people who just enjoy the music. And we have it from country, western, blues, jazz, popular music, you name it, we'll have it for everybody.
Well, and in addition to all the concerts you also have, you mentioned the Volkswagen thing, but there's, what, stunt shows? What other kind of things?
We have Team Extreme, which is a motorcycle stunt show, which will be performing all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, in the Rat's Hole Show area, which is another event that's held on Saturday. We have the world-famous Rat's Hole Motorcycle Show, which displays custom motorcycles from all over the country that compete for trophies and prizes. We also have demonstrations by the drill team groups that come from other Harley dealerships throughout the state that compete doing drill team type activities. We also have the demonstrations by safety experts to teach you how to ride motorcycles safely. That's a real popular venue. We always have the popular biker games, which are the fun things that the bikers like to participate in, along with poker runs that run throughout the county that go to local businesses for stops and help spread the benefits of Bike Fest.
Well, and I know it would literally be impossible to just sit here and tell about all the different things. So there's so much information I know on the website, Leesburg Bike Fest. Why do you think, and really anybody can answer this, why do you think Leesburg Bike Fest is so popular? I mean, we have people that come from all over the nation. Why do you think that it's so popular? Jay, why do you think that it's so popular?
Well, because we're Leesburg, and Leesburg is #1 in anything. That's what makes us great. Well, I think in being a bike rider myself, I've been to Sturgis or Myrtle Beach, Daytona. One of the things that's really a great draw for me as a biker is it's a little smaller venue. It's Leesburg is, as you know, just a great, quaint little town. There's a great feel here. Myself and others, when I talk to people who are visiting Leesburg, they like the interaction with the Leesburg residents. They like how we treat them. They like, the atmosphere that we create. And it is not just for bikers. And I think that's something that the bikers enjoy. Because, hey, at the end of the day, one of the great things you have to remember is that this isn't the 1960s Hells Angels that's rolling into town. These are businessmen, whether they are Truman's Men's Clothing that gets to put on a leather vest on the weekend, or whether they are doctors or attorneys. And so they come in here. It's a great venue for them. There's a lot of people, a lot of interaction with a lot of their friends that just give them more of a family type atmosphere, but with a biker theme. So I think they really enjoy that. Personally, I think that's one of the big takes on it.
Sandy, let me add something to that, because I ask questions all the time when people are coming to get a beverage at our tent. And I'll say, you know, welcome to Leesburg, drive safe, how can I help you? And then as soon as we're serving them, they'll always tell me where they're from. And they love the two things in particular. One is they sense that most of us are volunteers. We're there because we want to serve them and we really do want to welcome them. The other thing that I hear over and over, and I know Joe will hate to hear this, they claim it is so well run, they're complimentary to our police and our sheriff's department, but they think the venues are run so well and organized. I think that's part of what brings them back.
Well, and I mentioned in the intro that it's the largest three-day motorcycle event in the country. How many people does that represent? Do we have an idea?
Well, we believe that somewhere in the 200 to 300,000 range, and it's very difficult to measure those numbers. But as I've said before in the show before, if you come Monday, we're going to count. I mean, Friday, we're going to count you Friday. We'll count you again if you come on Saturday. So, you know, we have anywhere probably in the neighborhood of 50 on Friday, 150 on Saturday, and you know, 30 to 50 on Sunday. But it varies. People come in, they come out, they leave, and then come in and out constantly. So, so we're somewhere in that number as far as the size goes. And it's until we had a way to measure and count every person. If it were a gated event where we charged everybody, we could give an exact measurement. But that is something for discussion and for debate, how many people.
Now, I know with that many people, Captain Hicks, coming into this town, it really doubles, triples our population. What kind of challenges does that produce for you on the public safety measure as far as within the venue area, but then also in the city and the county? What do we do to make sure that during that time we're prepared?
Well, over the years we've developed a plan through Incident Command that we've crafted, and each year we make adjustments to. We look at what we did in past years, what other venues have done. One of the things that the commissioner mentioned, which I agree 100% with, is this is a unique venue. The actual venue size is smaller, whereas like a Sturgis or Daytona is spread out throughout a county or possibly more. The bulk of the people that come are coming here to the downtown Leesburg area. And so we've had public safety plans put together since probably the second or third year when we started realizing this was going to start to be something. And we've developed that and crafted it better each time. It allows the public safety from police, fire, EMS, all throughout Lake County to get together, to sit down at a table, to brainstorm, to realize how we are going to provide public safety for all the people coming into our city. The plan, the Incident Action Plan, it's a multifaceted plan. It looks at a lot of different areas that we're going to need. Fire, EMS, very important. We have a great partnership with the Lake County Sheriff's Office. We also bring in people from state law enforcement that just give us a hand. One of the biggest things, and last time I spoke with you, we talked about this, is we built this event from the ground up, not only from the logistical point of view of the event, but from the public safety and the law enforcement end of things, where early on it was sort of the motto of, if you act like an adult, we'll treat you like an adult. And that has been met with a lot of positive steps. And so when people come here, they know what the code of conduct is. Everyone conducts themselves accordingly, and so there doesn't have to be a negative interaction with law enforcement that's on scene. And so we've been blessed in that aspect, and that's one of the things that we get compliments on quite a bit when people are coming up, and it's sort of a part of the experience is to go get your picture taken with a police officer that's downtown, and they find it odd that our police officers are very excited and glad to pose with them and all those things. So it has been a work in progress. It still continues to be. I think we've improved it each year, and I think just like the experience of Bikefest has improved, so has our public safety.
I think I might say a thing about the Incident Command. I'm real excited that the Leesburg Bikefest has is the training ground, I think, for all of these agencies to come together once a year. We're able to work with the radio people countywide, work with EMS, fire, police, and they all have the opportunity to interact and train. So if there were a real major incident in Lake County, that they all know each other. They get to know each other and work together, and I think it's a great training ground for that incident command system. And so I'm kind of proud that we're able to participate in that.
And they try that. They try out all even their radios and their.
Everybody gets to know each other and work together for that one weekend as volunteers and staff people. So I think it's a good thing.
Well, and of course, when you have this many people coming into the city, it has such a impact in a lot of different areas, but especially even on our economy. And I want to talk a little bit about that, like what it does for the businesses that are here. You know, John, I know you're here as a representative of the Leesburg Lightning, which is one of the nonprofits that works Bikefest in either a merchandise tent or a beverage tent. We have there's so many different areas that nonprofits work to raise money. Tell us a little bit about that, about what it does for our nonprofit organizations, the kind of money that they can raise, that it helps throughout the year.
Well, it's interesting. I think we spoke that this is now the 17th year for Bikefest here in Leesburg, and it's the 7th or our 8th year for the Leesburg Lightning, and we grew the very same way. We just started out small and we grew. The difference was we knew we had to raise a lot of money. Now it's about $80,000 a year to keep the team on the field. And we do not want to charge admission. We hate to charge admission, so we will not do it. So that means for 12 months of the year, all of our volunteers, we're out there raising money, getting signed sponsors, whatever, really pushing it as hard as we can. But not until we got engaged with Bikefest and had the opportunity to have, we have about 140 shifts, 5-hour shifts, that we cover with our Lightning fans for our beer tent. We have a Jaeger liquor tent that we are responsible for. With all of those people involved, we collect a lot of tips. The tips go right to our nonprofit group, and then the partnership can help us offset all of those hours. Now, the difference is that money that we get, while it's not a huge part of our overall number, I will swear to you, I know of no other way for us to earn that money from the community, from our activities, and our fans love to be involved with this. You know, those of us who get involved. So just speaking on behalf of all of the not-for-profits, I think we're all in the same boat. We really appreciate being invited to participate, and I think our willingness to be there, and not that we have to be there, but every year we elect to be part of it, I think that shows when people come for service, and it helps tell our story about Leesburg.
Well, Sandy, I think too, another one of the things that always impressed me about the partnership was, and my hat's off to Joe and to the board, you know, speaking of our nonprofits, the partnership could bring in bartenders and let them just work for just the tips alone, but the nonprofits actually even get a portion of the sales. And so for the Leesburg Lightning or the Kiwanis or Rotary or whatever group may be there, you know, the partnership is allowing and giving up some portions of their earnings just to help areas in our community. You know, we've had a lot of cutbacks in the community. We've had to, as far as from a city standpoint, we don't have the funds to give as much as we used to the nonprofits. And so now the partnership has in some ways helped fill that void and help the nonprofits by allowing them to have a way to raise money on tips and things like that, parking garages and all the things they do to help that, and then literally giving up profit from the partnership's own pocket and saying, hey, we want the Lightning to be successful, or we want your Kiwanis Club. So yeah, my hat goes off to the partnership for helping those areas.
Well, and then this is also money that's coming from outside of our community, the majority of it. you know, coming from outside, but then being invested back into the community. That's what excites me about it, is thinking about these organizations the churches that send kids to summer camp, and they're doing that with money that's come from outside of our community, and they don't have to necessarily just keep asking the same people over and over again for money. It can be reinvested in those ways. Do we have, I know we've tracked how much, or we've tried to track how much money that the nonprofits make. Do you remember?
Last year we tracked over $150,000 and working with between 35 and 40 groups that we're tracking. There's other groups out there that we're maybe not aware of, but it's around $150,000 to those groups that we're working with presently.
And those are all things, you know, like I know I'm a part of a Rotary group that makes money on a beverage tent, and all of that money goes right back into the community, so that's really exciting too.
Well, yeah, you'd be surprised how many. I sit on the board for the Lake Sumter Boys and Girls Club, and we've participated for several years. It's been one of our big, fundraiser pushes for us too. So, yeah, it crosses into a lot of areas that people, I think, have no idea how many people really benefit from it.
And what do you think it does for the local businesses when we're here? I mean, our restaurants and our gas stations, even just the stores in town. What?
I can say I'm very happy. I've always really just kind of shut down during Bike Week as a men's clothing store. There's just not a lot of guys on bikes renting tuxedos and things like that. And if you look at Bike Week as a whole, and Joe could speak, I'm sure, much more in depth to it, but what it does for Central Florida, especially right here, Lake Sumter, Orange, the areas that are really connected to us, in tourism dollars, there's a lot of money that comes in. So, it's not just about helping just Leesburg, it's about helping county-wide in Central Florida. But for me, last year was the first year we actually put a booth in Bike Week. Truman's did, and we put apparel in there and boots and jewelry and all kinds of things that we regularly have at our store. And that goes back to something I was saying earlier. You have a lot of people here that are, they're accountants or attorneys or whatever. And so it's not just about bikers and guys who just, ride the road all the time. And we had a very successful week last year, and so we've already signed up this year. And I think if a lot of businesses would realize, wow, I need to capitalize on this and take a multifaceted approach to how they could bring their business and some ideas in front of this many people, it would really surprise them, I think, to find out how good they could do if they participated.
Well, and I know that you can't get a hotel room for miles away the weekend ever. It's very difficult. So obviously that has to help. What other areas, Joe, I know there was an economic impact study done last year for the first time. Can you talk a little bit to that?
Well, the study was done, and of course, the numbers that were reported were in the $190 million impact. Now, that's not $190 million wasn't spent by those visitors, but when a dollar is spent in a community, it rolls over a couple times before it leaves, and there's some formulas that were used. But the obvious winners to this are the motorcycle dealers, the restaurants, the gasoline, the hotels are big winners on this. And those all require servers that make money. But we also are making impact not only to Lake County, but basically all 5 counties surrounding Lake County are benefiting from hotel buys. And that all comes back to help us. I mean, Leesburg is Sumter County's downtown in a lot of ways. So we have a lot of those people coming back here to spend money. So, the economic impact from the little parking lots that the churches are doing, it's just amazing to me where it is. And you just don't realize it till you start thinking about who is getting the impact. The bartenders that work the different venues, or the people that are cleaning up the trash and the garbage. We have over 80 people that just take care of the refuge and the cleanup, sweeping, that type of stuff. So I mean, those numbers go on and on and on. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people involved in this event at the local level. It always hits home to me when I talk to one of the restaurant owners, for example, and they say that the way that they can stay open in downtown or in Leesburg through the summer months, when of course we have a lot of snowbirds that leave, is because of that event. Because of what they do in Bikefest allows them to carry through over the summer months when they're so lean.
So that right there speaks volumes to the event. I want to talk a little bit about, and probably all of you will have your own perspective on this question, but where we have been, where we started, how did we decide to do a bike fest in Leesburg? You know, what give us a little bit of the background on it and where we are now and how have we progressed to where we are?
Well, 16 plus years ago, we were looking for ideas, unique ideas of ways to revitalize downtown Leesburg. And everyone was doing art festivals, everyone was doing car shows, everyone was doing craft shows. We were looking for a niche, and the motorcycle festivals have been around a little bit. The Bike Weeks had been around, Sturgis had been around, Laconia, some of those big events around the country. But no one was really doing motorcycle events or cruise-ins, that type of thing. And we floated the idea, the board approved it. We started our first event, probably had 5,000 people, a couple thousand bikes, 5,000 or so people. It took in about a 5-block area downtown. We made about $1,000 that week, I think, that weekend. It
That
grew.
was big money, Joe.
Yeah, it was back then. It grew. It kept growing. When we hit that, the last 10 years, we started hitting that biker craze. Then it started growing literally exponentially every year. It was just so fast and furious, and now it is considered by the industry as one of the top 5 events in the country, bar none. And I think it's something we should be proud of and support it. And you know, we have no interest in doing another one, or doing it a week long. Don't worry about that. If you hear that rumor, that's not going to happen, because the main reason is that we depend so heavily on our volunteers that it's not going to be any more than what it is. And that's fine. We're happy with that. We do it well. We're happy with it. And so
I'd like to expound on that a little bit. I don't know where those 1,000 bikes are that Joe's talking about year one, because I remember standing at George's lawnmower repair shop looking at about, 50 bikes and having some guy I never met.
He is an event planner.
Some guy I never met before yelling at me and Woody and one other guy, because that's all that took to run that from the law enforcement perspective. So they kept going up and down Main Street, so maybe they went 20 times, and that gave you 1,000. That could be it. But all joking aside, and I hate to give Joe Shipes compliments because he doesn't need them. You know, I teach management at a collegiate level, and I teach it both in law enforcement and from just a business perspective. And when you start talking about not-for-profits, or you talk about any successful organization, you got to have a vision. There has to be a vision. And being in on the ground floor, being here first year, and seeing what was implemented and what his thought processes were up until now, it is phenomenal. It's remarkable the vision that he had and carried it through operationally, because sometimes you can have a great idea and not implement it, then that's just like having a horrible idea. But it's been implemented, and it's gotten better every year, and that's been substantial for our community, and I don't think he gets enough credit sometimes for that.
thank you.
Oh, Joe, you're so wonderful.
And people do see that. There's no question. You were saying before, Joe, that for Sumter County, there's a lot of ways that Leesburg is their downtown. Well, I live in Lady Lake, and a lot of us in Lady Lake, Leesburg's our downtown. But at Bike Fest, you have people that have been coming for 10 years straight from Miami, Palm Beach County, Tampa Bay is huge, Jacksonville. They're here every single year. This is their only other downtown. So there's something here that is catching. I think the people in Lake County and Leesburg are inviting enough to them. But I get back to the fact that it is the way it's organized and the way it's run and how it's managed, including the security, the police, and all of the rest of it. It's hard to duplicate that. We have it because we have some great people responsible, but you can't just say, oh, we see what they do and we're going to duplicate it. It isn't going to happen because of the mix that we have here of the community and the management behind this event, which I think is spectacular.
I believe that it also just puts such a good taste in people's mouths, even, you know, all over. They come to Leesburg and they have these experiences, and they come to Lake County and
That's
they see
the Polish hot dog. That's the taste.
They want to come back. I hear about that all the time. People coming back because of what they've experienced, and they see the friendliness of the police, the friendliness of the volunteers that greet them. You know, the image that really it gives us all throughout the whole country, you know, is Leesburg Bikefest. So you can go all over the place traveling, and you see somebody with a Leesburg Bikefest shirt, or you say, I'm from Leesburg, thinking they're not going to know what this is. And the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, they got a Bikefest there. Yeah. So I want to talk real quick. We really don't have very much time. One, I want to make sure we get the website so that if somebody has more questions or they want more information about Bikefest, they can do that. So
it's leesburgbikefest.com. Of course, we also encourage people to like us on Facebook. We're hitting close to 20,000 likes real soon here, so either or is a good place to go to.
And I want to just really quick hit on the things that, you know, for the local people who maybe want to become a part of Bikefest. Tell us a little bit about the transportation into Bikefest, so that if they don't have a bike, or they want to be a part of it but they're afraid of the crowds, what can they do?
One of our top sponsors is the Lake County. They're supporting us through TDC, the Tourist Development Group, and also through Lake Express is one of our partners. We're running a shuttle starting Friday evening until 2 a.m., Saturday all day until 2 a.m., and Sunday I think till 5. And it runs from downtown Eustis, downtown Tavares, downtown Mount Dora, all the way to Lady Lake along the 441-27 corridor. So for $1, you can jump on the shuttle, ride it to downtown, drop you off right at the Daily Commercial office, and you can enjoy the festivities, get on the bus, and go back to your downtown or anywhere along the hotels that, you know, along the highway that can be dropped off. So it's a great partnership. It's about safety, it's about responsibility, and having a good time and using a great transportation system.
Well, Leesburg Police, they do some free rides too.
Yeah. Well, we actually have one other program. It's that if we have an issue with a overconsumed guest, we will give free taxi rides. That's done by Anheuser-Busch, provides that program, and we will get them home or to the hotel. So we have a couple different ways of safety built in. Yeah.
And I know we really have just scratched the surface on Leesburg Bikefest, and unfortunately we're out of time. But I appreciate all of you, your input and what you do for our community. And thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Sandy.
Well, I just want to say, Sandy, thank you for doing the show, because you do a fantastic job of it.